Hey, Frank with Sniper Side here. I'm with Brian Whalen at the Blue Steel Ranch down in New Mexico, and we're spending a Monday night at the range, and we're going to be doing some long-range shooting tomorrow. So we were going over this matrix that Brian came up with and trying to put values to these different categories, and I'm going to let Brian explain. Again, this isn't for pro shooter. This is for a guy, an entry-level guy coming up, and how to look at the different calibers out there. And this is something we just kind of threw together in the last hour and wanted to shoot a little video for it. So Brian, yeah, go ahead.
So this is when we were doing mission planning, we would give different criteria, different values when we break up into separate teams.
Sure.
We would write up a plan, and then we would use this kind of a planning thing to determine what mission, like how we were going to do the mission, not what mission we're going to do, but how we're going to do it. So for this would be a good way of kind of analytically looking at what caliber we were choosing. And the premise here is, once again, it's not for your top 10 guys that are placing top 10 in the PRS matches, but honestly, even a lot of the upper level middle guys, to me, it's, you know, I see it as an instructor all the time, I'm sure you do too, that, you know, where I might lose a little bit of wind bucking in a certain caliber, if I was able to shoot the gun all the time, the same gun that I'm using for training as I am for shooting matches, then the bit that I'm going to lose out of wind doping, I'm going to pick up because I'm proficient at all the different positions.
Sure.
I get better at reading wind, and I can just do a lot more practice. I think the practice percentage-wise is going to give us more points than that bit of wind doping, for example.
Sure. And what we did is we got a 6.5 Creedmoor, 260, because they're essentially the same.
Thing, yeah.
6XC and 6mm Creedmoor. 308, 6BR Dasher, looks very similar to each other. And then the 224 Valkyrie, we got wind cheating or wind bucking, recoil management, danger space, which is your elevation, your drop, your training value, what Brian's mentioning, because we look at this training value side because we're both teaching classes. Then cost per round, we debated this one a little bit. This is for the first time out and where we kind of see each other. It's not I have the brass or I'm getting a certain deal on a component. It's basically what's it going to cost me the first day out of the gate, and we looked at that. Then load stability is, do you have to chase the load as the barrel starts to wear?
Yep.
And so that's why we're looking at load stability. How easy is it to load, and do you have to chase it? Then we had a big discussion on this one, your impact indication. Whether and how it hits the target or misses the target, and the movement within the target. It's kinetic energy, but at the same time, we're putting a different value to it than just terminal ballistics. Yep. Okay, we're looking at it in several ways. And then finally, we're looking at barrel life. How often are you going to have to go and rebarrel this rifle? That kind of deal.
And to kind of go back through these a little bit on my perspective too. So wind cheating, straightforward.
Right.
No debate or difference really in perspective there. It's math.
Yeah.
How fast is my bullet going? What's my BC and how much wind?
Yeah. How far is it going to drift?
Yep. Recoil management. That's another straightforward one. How well am I able to see my impacts or
stay
misses?
on target?
Stay on target. Right. Danger space. Once again, that's just, hey, if I have a 20-yard ranging error, am I still going to hit the target?
Right. Your 308's coming in on an arc. Your 6mm are coming in straight.
Super flat.
Right. Yeah. That's the difference there.
Training value, that's how likely are you to train with your gun. If I've got a 6 Creedmoor, like to me, if I have a 6 Creedmoor, I'm not real highly likely to pick that up and shoot with it, you know, a Saturday.
You're going to burn the barrel out quick.
You're going to burn the barrel out, right. Those rounds out quick. Now the cost per round, like you were saying, everybody needs to do this for themselves because, okay, I'm a hand loader, right? So this is going to be, you know, like, okay, my 6BR, if I'm buying ammo, it's extremely expensive. There's very few companies that make it. If I'm doing a dasher, then I've got to go and I've got to do load.
The hydroforming and all the different stuff, right?
And then, like, okay, you know, certain bullets are more expensive than others. How much powder am I using? And we also added in there barrel life.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that because it does matter.
Yeah, it does matter for sure. And, you know, a new barrel, getting it spun up, on a bolt gun is, you know, $700.
Yeah.
Tie the two of them together. You get a good high quality gas gun barrel. Once again, you're in that $600 to $700, you know, category if you're replacing your gas block at the same time. That adds a little
Right,
bit to it
cost
as well.
starts to go up.
So factory versus hand loading, that's something you have to look at for yourself. What are you doing? Everyone's going to have a slightly different perspective on that. And how important is that to you, right? Load stability, like Frank said, am I chasing the lands? If I'm hand loading.
Are you tweaking in a season? Your barrel's not burnt out, but you're
Yep.
tweaking, you're tweaking, you're tweaking,
Yep.
you're tweaking. That's what we're looking at it there.
And impact indication. So there's the one side of the coin where it's like, okay, am I hitting the target hard enough? Is that setting the flasher off? Is it, if I don't have a flasher?
Can I see the splash if I
Can I
miss?
see the splash? Absolutely. On the other side of that, for me, it's how hard am I hitting the plate? If I'm hitting it so hard that I can't see which way it spins, I'm not good at doing that.
Right.
So,
Well, one of the contexts that Brian and I were talking about is we both shoot 7 wisms. 7 wisms slams a target and hits it hard.
Yeah.
That thing's spinning in circles, so you can't use that to see what happened. You just know you hit it.
Yeah.
And it might be turning to the right, so you know you turned it to the right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it hits it a little too hard at times. So that's why we're looking at this kind of in a really weird, subjective way.
Yeah.
But it matters because, like I said, with a 6mm, you get an inexperienced RO who the target's beyond 800 yards. He may not see your splash. But Brian doesn't want it to hit so hard that he can't then keep himself corrected to the center of the plate.
exactly.
Right. So that's
There's a fine line.
there's
in there.
context there.
Yeah, and if you're shooting mostly long-range prone matches, right? You can see your target spin easier than you
Big
can,
time.
right?
If you're off a positional barricade, off of something else, right?
And if you're back east where most of the matches are 800 and in,
Yes.
that's a very different ball of wax than if you're shooting Oklahoma or Nebraska.
Right.
Wyoming.
Back east, your average range is 400 yards. Out west here, it's 600 to 800 yards on an average.
Yep.
And
And then you get the longer matches that
Right.
are out to, you know.
And so that's kind of where that comes into play.
And then barrel life, it's pretty
It is what it
straightforward.
is. We know the numbers.
And the thing with the heartbreaker with barrel life, it's not just having to spend $700. It's the time you wait for your gunsmith to do it. It's, having to
Threading, all muzzle brakes,
Yep.
all those things.
breaking your barrel back in.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and this is kind of the numbers we came up with, and it's giving a value from the 6.5 Creedmoor's your 32, your 6XC we gave it 24, your 308's got a 25, your 6BR's a 27, and then the Valkyrie we came up with a 34. We're taking the Valkyrie out to 1,200 today, 1,500 we went. We're going to go out even further. We're having really good success. Second round hit at 1,200 when you were checking your dope. You weren't even trying. So we see it as a really good viable option. And then, of course, your standards are going to be your 6.5 Creedmoors, and your 6.5s in that is about the highest that you'll see universally. So this is our indicator.
And the funny thing too is that the 308 that used to be the go-to, and I'd been in debates on Facebook like, everybody should own a 308 first. And the upside to starting with a 308 is that you learn how to manage recoil.
Sure.
But the downside,
and wind and
the downside is all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not competitive anymore, and it needs work to become competitive. Is there stuff out there you can get? Yes, but now you're racking the prices up. I was talking about, you take a 6.5 CM and even the 6 Creedmoor, 6mm Creedmoor and 6.5 Creedmoor, you can get factory ammo for $24 a box. 308 is usually, for good stuff, is around $33 to $35 a box. So this is actually cheaper ammo than 308 anymore, and you could find it everywhere.
It never used to be that way.
Right, and it didn't. I mean, you could find either one of these, including the Valkyrie. I can get in 3 Bear in Alaska. I can go in the middle of a gas station and find it. So it's no longer a case of 308s everywhere. These guys are catching up fast.
Yep. And the Valkyrie now, I mean, you can go out and you can get $20 a box. Another upside.
Even cheap, right? I'm shooting that 75 grain as the training stuff.
Yep.
It's 50 cents a round.
Yeah.
And it puts them in one hole with my JP.
Yep. And another thing about some of these calibers too, and I've been doing a lot of messing around with the Valkyrie. I really like the Valkyrie. One of the cool things to me with the Valkyrie is that I can take and I can load my match ammo with 88 grain ELDMs.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm hand loading for it, I can load those to, let's say, 2880.
A little hotter.
Yeah, a little hotter. But for my training stuff, I can load it down to 223. So I can stick an 80 grain in there, going 2,800 feet per second. and I'm using the same powder.
Right.
I'm using the same brass. The Federal brass has been outstanding. The Hornady bullets have been, great. And on the other side too, here with the 6.5 Creedmoor, all of a sudden there's like a lot of companies making great ammo for this.
Yes, you can go from 123s all the way up to 147s, all the different calibers.
Yep.
There's a lot of ammo available for the 6.5.
Yep. And of course, there's a lot out there for the 308. It's getting more expensive. There's more and more coming out
For the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie, like I said, you could find it everywhere now. I'm finding it in, $115 for 200 rounds of 75 grain American Eagle, and it works great to 600. No problem.
No problem.
Yeah, then and after that it's fine. It's just wind.
Yep.
So, but look at this. These are the categories we're looking at. You guys take a look at what you think and put your values to it. Do you agree? Disagree? You tell us. What do you think? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's just numbers we were playing around with, and we're out here in the middle of a, big sky darkness, and decided, hey, let's take a look.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Appreciate it.